The Titans need to get a vet quarterback. That's what they need to do, because if they don't, they might lose again and people might run that coach out of town. We'll talk about that today here on Locked On NFL.
The barbershop is open and Tony Wiggins has a chair for you. He's ready with some real NFL talk. The local experts of Locked On bring their expertise, and Wiggy is ready with his clippers and shears. Sit down and enjoy. The new Locked On NFL starts now. Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
It is your team every day here on Locked On NFL. We thank you for making us your first listen. We're twice a day, right? That's right. Tyler Roland early in the morning like a double shot of espresso, and me here in the barbershop. And every day we have a different local expert. And my expert today is my man, Julian Council, as always, on a Monday from Locked On Panthers. We're going to run it down for you. I got to let you know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Shout out to the Everydayers for joining us here every single day. That's why we call them Everydayers. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff in the third segment, but we'll mainly get into Zack Martin and then talk about Hall of Fame snubs, because both of us are sitting here and we represent two teams who have guys who got snubs. So that's not a real good feeling. Believe it or not, there's certain members of the Philadelphia Eagles, they're already talking about how they need to evolve. Are you serious? What are you talking about? So we'll get to that. Hey, good morning, A.J. Brown. All right, and then at the top, the Titans should sign a vet quarterback and trade back and get more assets. The combine is this week. A lot of talk around Matthew Stafford. We'll get to all of that in just a second. Julian Council, what is going on, my brother?
I'm good, man. Just chilling, ready for the combine this week, and we got 2 weeks away from free agency, so I'm really ready for that to get to the real team building part of things, and then really get into the draft season. So exciting week in the NFL, and happy to be back here on a Monday.
Oh, no doubt about it. Tyler Roland is also one that has been on fire lately. The award-winning content creator in Tennessee. The fans down there voted for him, and we're very, very happy for our brother. He had something to say about Matthew Stafford possibly coming to the Tennessee Titans. Check this out.
The Tennessee Titans' path to Matthew Stafford got a lot easier this weekend. Matthew Stafford, over the weekend, we got a report that the Rams have given Matthew Stafford's agent the opportunity to go out and seek a trade or seek a new home, seek a new contract. Matthew Stafford's agent is allowed to go out and talk to other teams. And obviously, other teams would include the Tennessee Titans. Now, I have said, and I will continue to say, make no mistake about it. Some people say I waffle because I go over all of the scenarios, but I'm making it as clear as day. I do not want the Tennessee Titans to trade for a 37-year-old, always injured, expensive Matthew Stafford.
All right. Let's get into it. We'll talk about his opinion on Stafford and then talk about what the play is here for the Rams and Matthew Stafford. But I actually think this would be a good move for the Titans to go back and they need to evaluate. You can't evaluate your roster all the time with a rookie, especially when the rest of the roster is also young, like your best players, at least on offense. So I really think Brian Callahan has to show something. He has to show that what he is what he's talking about and the things that he's trying to do actually has to show it can work for the Titans, I believe, with the new GM to move forward.
Well, I think Matthew Stafford should retire before he plays for the Tennessee Titans, quite frankly. I mean, he's going to be 37. There's no reason in his career this late he's going to go play for the worst team in the league, who has a head coach who honestly should have been fired. It's not going to work out for Brian Callahan in Tennessee. So I would agree with Tyler there. There's no point in making this trade because this staff is cooked anyways, and clearly this roster is not up to snuff, even with Matthew Stafford joining it. They really, honestly, should be focused on just bringing in some young guys and trying to find a foundation and build one. And hell, I would rather watch them stick with Will Levis or go get Gardner Minshew instead of trading for Matthew Stafford, because Stafford's not going to do enough for them this upcoming season or if, in 2 years if he's still there with Tennessee. Like, this is a team that needs to be focused on bringing in young guys and rebuilding through the draft and just the quiet, right way, the long process, opposed to trying to make a quick fix there at quarterback with Matthew Stafford. So, yeah, I kind of agree with them, but mainly because, like, that would be a waste of Stafford's time to go down to Tennessee.
It would be, and I don't understand the play for them. Somebody said he wants to cash in, he wants more money. If money, I mean, Matthew Stafford's made a bunch of money. I don't know if it's a money grab, but I will tell you this. I was talking to while I was going back and forth yesterday with somebody. I said he's not going to, at this stage of his career, why would he go play for a putrid team? If he has any control, if he has any inclination, if they're giving him a chance to go out and find a trade partner, why would it be a team that's not in contention? I think he called Mike Tomlin at Pittsburgh first before he does anything, because at least that's a playoff team.
I mean, unless Kelly, his wife, wants to live in Nashville, I don't understand why on earth Tennessee would be like, that's the only reason. It's like, hey, babe, let's move back to the South. Let's live in Nashville and let's just hang out. Like, that's the only reason you make this move. And you play like one season, you have some roots built there in Nashville. And he can do that now. They could already have a house there in Nashville and not have to be a part of the Tennessee Titans. So that's the only feasible reason why he would make this decision. Sorry, why they would make this decision.
There you go. There you go. They. Speaking of they, the Titans have the number 1 pick in the draft, and I'm of the ilk that I don't mind them if they sign a veteran. Like you mentioned, Gardner Minshew. It could be whoever. It could be Sam Darnold. Tyler doesn't want him either. But whoever it is, I think it's a chance for them to possibly move back to a team that does want that number 1 pick if they fall in love with somebody, and get more assets and build this team up, continue to invest in the infrastructure that they invested in last year. There was a good chat on the squad show last week. I wanted to play this for you and get your opinion, because I did actually play it the other day, but still I wanted to get your opinion on it. In fact, when I pulled the clip, I said, man, I would really love to hear what Julian says about who's the best player in the draft. Check this out.
If we're talking NFL draft, we got to go to Keith Sanchez, Locked On NFL Draft, the expert here. Keith, that's kind of the question, and I know everybody's got a little bit of a different way of measuring this, but to you, who to you is the best pound for pound player in this year's NFL draft?
So best player, I'm gonna go Abdul Carter. And the reason is that everybody compares this guy to Michael Parsons, but I will take it one step further. I think he's actually a better stack linebacker than what Michael Parsons is. I think Abdul Carter has all pro potential as an edge rusher, and I think he has Pro Bowl level caliber if you just wanted to put him at stack linebacker. So I think so many different coordinators are going to look at him and say that this guy is a true versatile front 7 piece, right? And he can do it all. And I think we've learned this year, right, especially with the run game coming back, is that linebackers are back in high priority. You need linebackers to be able to fill gaps. So I think that's why you even elevate his stock just a little bit more. But you're talking about a guy that I'm willing to go all in and I really like is Abdul Carter.
You know, I like Abdul Carter, but I really, really, really like Travis Hunter too, man, for a lot of reasons. It's probably because I cover high school recruiting, and I know that kid, when he was in 11th grade, he was the best player in the country. So a lot of the hype around it, but is Abdul Carter, in your opinion, a guy that's worthy of the teams wanting to come up and trade for?
Yeah, I think it is interesting, like the perspective, like people like you and I who do follow high school recruiting would have when it comes to the NFL draft, because you look at guys like Travis Hunter and have known for a long time that he was that dude. Trevor Lawrence, kind of the same way. Looking like a guy like Luther Burden. He might not be a top 10 pick, but I mean, he's been a dog for a long time, and he went to Mizzou, and he lived up to the billing. But I go back to the quote that the Titans' new general manager said when they were going about the process of looking at what they're going to do at number 1 overall, and he said, "We will not pass on a generational talent." We have already seen guys do what Micah Parsons. Sorry, excuse me. Well, that's kind of my point. We've already seen guys do what Abdul Carter is expected to do in the NFL. Micah Parsons was mentioned there. We have seen those edge rushers come in and out of college and have a major impact in the NFL. We have not seen anyone in well over multiple generations do what Travis Hunter was able to do at Colorado and potentially could do in the NFL, playing both cornerback and playing both that wide receiver as well. So yeah, clearly the Heisman Trophy winner, who was the Blitnikoff winner for best wide receiver in college football, probably also should have won the Thorpe Award for the best corner. No offense to Jahdae Barron of Texas, who was outstanding, but he ain't Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is the best player in this draft. When he's the best receiver and the best corner, he's clearly the best player in this NFL draft. Love Abdul Carter. He's awesome. But come on, like, this is not even a conversation. What are we doing?
It shouldn't be one. And I would preferably like to play him full time at corner and give him snaps on offense, and in key moments of the game, put him at punt return, because I think it's more difficult to play corner if you're not repping it every single day, because guys
I
like
agree.
Justin Jefferson will destroy you. If you out there being a part-time corner and you ain't worked on your footwork, well, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson going to take you to the cleaners. So
No.
I think you have to be a full-time corner, and it's no disrespect to wide receivers, but they're responding to what you're doing on offense when you're a wide receiver. You're responding and reacting to what they're doing when you're on defense, and I think that's more difficult to do if you don't rep a lot.
And also, like, at corner, he can play every single snap. Like, there's 50 snaps, 55 in NFL games. Like, this dude was playing at altitude. And in college, they're playing like 70, 80 snaps. So his workload is going to be so much less than it was when he was at Colorado. And he can come in and play, as you mentioned, like in certain packages offensively and make an impact. I hate how NFL teams are always here trying to find some back of the roster guy to be their punt returner, because they clearly don't care about punt returning. I remember in Carolina for all those years, they couldn't find a punt returner. It's like they have one. His name's Christian McCaffrey. You're just afraid to have him go back there, and just really what he's going to do most of the time is this fair catch, because that's all punt returnings become in the NFL. But like, yeah, I want to see Travis Hunter have an opportunity to play full-time corner, but also get snaps offensively at receiver as well.
No doubt about it. All right, we'll talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Between we laughed when we were doing pre-show, because somebody's actually not really complaining. Well, yeah, he kind of is complaining. We'll talk about it here in just a second on Locked On NFL. All right, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. That is right, man. FanDuel is the absolute truth, and y'all know it. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started. There's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off and want to be on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting. Whether I'm backing my team for a late game rally or picking a player to hit a clutch three, I never miss my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Instantly means right away. All right. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, rolling along here on Locked On NFL on a Monday with our normal Monday guest, Julian Council. The Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. They had a parade. They slayed the Dragon for the second time in about 7 years. They beat somebody that folks believe is the GOAT at something, whether it's quarterback or coach or even both. But they beat two dynasties, right? And there's already somebody saying what they need to do moving forward. I'm all for not standing pat, man, but time and place really does matter. Listen to Lou DiBiase talk about you know who. Check this out.
A.J. Brown nailed it when he said yesterday that although he supports Kevin Patullo as the new offensive coordinator, and everybody understands the continuity aspect of this, why it was important to have the verbiage in this offense stay the same for Jalen Hurts, at the same time, Brown said it best. Like, you have to evolve. They have to find ways to be better in 2025. Who knows what it could be? Maybe you're more balanced pass versus run. Find ways to use the middle of the field more. Get another tight end in this offense to have a pass-friendly 12 personnel package. More quick passing for run after the catch opportunities for your stars. That was a big thing in the NFC title and the Super Bowl. Just little wrinkles to even what you already do well. Like misdirection, pre-snap motion, like last year, the counter read and the counter draw were nice wrinkles to utilizing Jalen Hurts as a runner from Kellen Moore. You just got to stay ahead of the curve. You can't get stale because you're not the hunters anymore. Like A.J. Brown, you're the hunted. You're the reigning Super Bowl champs. Got to stay ahead of the curve.
You know, man, I wanted to call this clip my wife because no matter what I do, sometimes it ain't enough, right? I don't care how much I provide. I don't care what I do. She's always pushing. Shout out to Kimmy. They were up 34-0 in the Super Bowl in the third quarter, weren't they, against the Chiefs?
Yeah, they were.
Dude, is there a whole bunch they need to be doing? I'm lost. I know you got to keep your foot on the gas, man, but can y'all just please just sit back and drink some champagne and keep having fun for a little while?
Right, like I'm confused. Like they probably still haven't even cleaned up all the confetti off of Chestnut Street up there in Philly. Like the street poles are probably still greased up. So I'm trying to understand, why is it AJ Brown is not just in Cabo chilling, and like why is it that he's out here? And let's be honest, like, you know, his quarterback's catching some strays here, because that's really what the conversation is. And we have seen, because I do recall when Carolina was playing against Philly and he was out there reading the book and he was not happy after the game about not getting the ball, even though they won their 10th straight game when they beat Carolina back there in November. It's just odd behavior. Like, I understand receivers are all divas now, and like these dudes would rather go 2-14, never even go to a Super Bowl, but put up 1,500 yards every season with 12 touchdowns. But like, come on, like just relax, just be happy. You're not practicing. You ain't got to play football right now. Enjoy the sunshine wherever you're at, and stop talking bad about your quarterback, because that's what you're doing when you say we got to do more offensively. Because what you're saying is, oh, Jalen Hurts, who happened to be the Super Bowl MVP, and I mean, the 2 times they played in the Super Bowl, Hurts has shown up. He's been pretty damn good and everything you would want out of him. So I don't really understand what's going on. Like, Nike, just send him some more commercials to AJ Brown and let him know, like, relax.
I trade him. I promise you, man. I trade him. Yeah, I mean, because you know what's coming, man. You just won the Super Bowl. The dude was reading a book on the sideline. Ain't no telling what's on those pages. But shout out to whoever wrote that book. But my thing is was it always on the same page like LeBron? LeBron always has that book on the same page. I don't know. Every time you see him read it. But the thing is, man, is come on, dude. I mean, even now you still complaining? Now, I mean, this is why I'm telling you, AJ Brown should be careful that he doesn't get what he's really, really, truly asking for. He wants to go somewhere and catch balls. Fine, you can go somewhere and catch a whole bunch of passes and lose. I'd send him to New England. I promise you, I'd do something, because I'm telling you, if you can't have a player to be happy like now, like right now, it is going to be awful moving forward if you're Philadelphia. What's Philly versus the field next year in the NFC? Would you take Philly or would you take the field?
Well, we have never seen an NFC East team win back-to-back division titles, so I'm guessing they're not going to win the NFC East next year. So I'm going to take the field.
Look at you, man. You always bring something that I ain't even know. We have never seen an NFC East team win back-to-back titles.
No, it flip-flops every year.
Wow.
Because Dallas won the year prior, and if Dak's, I don't care if Schottenheimer's coach, if Dak's healthy, Dallas will be fine. Washington, I don't imagine they're going anywhere unless there is going to be kind of a CJ Stroud type season. But even still, like, Stroud was still pretty good this past year. And
watch out for those Giants. Watch out.
Oh yeah, I'm concerned about the Giants. And like the Rams, like, I think if they figure things out, like if Stafford stays around. Like, again, that was a team that was very close to beating them. I know we talked about that recently, like a couple Mondays ago. I don't think anyone in the NFC South is a threat. You can't discount the Lions still. I mean, Green Bay still up there. I would take the field just because of the fact that no team in the NFC East history has ever won back-to-back divisions, and it's going to be very difficult to go on the road 3 weekends in a row to get back to the Super Bowl.
Speaking of the NFC East, we're going to talk Dallas. We're going to talk the Cowboys just for a smidget, though, and then we're going to get into a bigger discussion about Hall of Fame and snubs and what do people have to do in order to what do you have to really do in a career to actually be rewarded at the end of it? That's the Hall of Fame is one of the weirdest things ever, but we'll talk about that more here on Locked On NFL. All right, third final segment here on Locked On NFL. Both Julian Council and I, we have teams that we cover in Carolina and Jacksonville where you had guys who were finalists for the Hall of Fame and they did not get in. So we'll discuss that in just a second. But the Dallas Cowboys will have to replace Zack Martin, who, in my opinion, and the opinion of others, is one of the best offensive linemen of our generation. Let's hear what they have to say about it.
Let's talk about the Hall of Fame case. He's a Hall of Famer. There's the case. 7 All-Pros. I believe it's 9 Pro Bowls. He was on the All-Decade team. I believe he's got it's either the first or the second most All-Pros ever for an offensive lineman. He's getting in.
It's like, especially with offensive linemen, they often stick with your team for so long and they're with you for so long that the really, really good ones, like, it feels like you have a relationship with them,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like they've been around your life for so long, and you just like a stalwart, right? It's something that you've come to rely on. I just, if you told in 2016 or whatever, 2017, I would have told you that, Tyron Smith and Fred Beard and Zack Martin were going to probably play football together forever, right? And so, when they actually kind of walk off in the distance and it's time to hang it up, it's always a little bitter. It's obviously bittersweet, but it's also a little surreal, right?
I think sometimes what happens in these cases, and I'm not saying this is in Zack Martin's case, it might be true for somebody like Quentin Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
Folks always tell you how great somebody is, but when you look at the tape and you ask people, those guys aren't as good as people always make them out to be. In this case, Zack Martin is very good, but I'll tell you, you got to be very careful thinking somebody's a shoe into the Hall of Fame, because Jimmy Smith has 10 1,000-yard receiving seasons for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's not in. Is not even being considered a finalist. Fred Taylor averaged 4.6 yards a carry for his career, and actually did average 4.6 yards per carry in 8 different seasons for the Jaguars, and he's not in. And your guy, Luke Kuechly, in my opinion, from the time he was a rookie, was one of the 3 best linebackers in the league until he got hurt and he left, and he's not in. I thought he was going to be a shoe-in. You got to be real careful. Hall of Fame is weird, man.
Yeah, I mean, Roger Craig's another one of the 3 backs in the history of the NFL that have 1,000-yard rushing and receiving season, and he played on some great Niners teams. He's not in there. And like Terrell Davis is in the Hall of Fame strictly because of his postseason success, honestly. I mean, with Zack Martin, quick correction, it's 9 Pro Bowls, 7 All-Pros. There's no way you can be a 9-time All-Pro and only have 7 Pro Bowls. It's far easier to get to the Pro Bowl. So that's just quick correction there. But you look at his career, and every year where he was healthy, for the most part, he went to a Pro Bowl or was named an All-Pro. The 2 seasons, like this past year and back in 2020, when he only played 10 games, are the only years where he was not a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro. So every single year, this guy was fully healthy. He was one of the best players at his position in the NFL. Played 11 seasons, was a first-round pick. He will be a Hall of Famer someday. Will it be first ballot? I don't know, but he'll be in there likely just based off of all those awards and the fact that he played also for the Dallas Cowboys. And you're right, like it's a funny business because I think it was who was it? Ocho? No, it wasn't Ocho. It was Terrell Owens who refused to go because of, I mean, the politics of the media and how you got to look at some of these guys where, sure, they may do things maybe off the field or they might not be the nicest towards you, but does that have any impact on how they played the game? It doesn't. And that's the one interesting thing about it. And like, I mean, we got the allegations going on with Justin Tucker right now. And if that turns out to be true, I mean, he's a Hall of Fame kicker. Is that going to impact his ability to be a Hall of Famer? We'll find out. But yeah, I mean, guys like Luke Kuechly, you mentioned him. Like Patrick Willis, who got in the Hall of Fame a year ago. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. They made Patrick Willis wait 5 years. He also played 9 seasons like Luke Kuechly, and I assume that Luke will eventually get in. Will it be next year? Maybe, maybe not. I don't really get too caught up in it. Like Steve Smith Sr., he is like 9th. Yeah, I know. Yeah, what? Yeah. Tough weekend for Steve.
Hey, keep pounding, brother. Keep pounding.
I mean, well, took that a little bit too regularly. Literally. Dang. But yeah, he's a guy who's like 9th all-time receiving yards. You look at all the guys in front of him, some guys behind him. He'll get in one day, but it's like, why make some of these dudes wait? I know they kind of changed criteria and all that, but Zack Martin probably getting in, Luke Kuechly probably getting in, Fred Taylor. It's been a minute, so you kind of start to worry whether that's ever going to happen. That's the problem. Like when guys are still in their window, I'm not too worried about it. But like Baselli got in, and I don't know. I mean, you're a guy who's covered the franchise since its existence. I mean, is Tony Baselli held in higher regard in history of the Jacksonville Jaguars than Fred Taylor?
Yes. Okay. The only reason is because when Baselli played, there were about 4 straight years, man, where everybody said he was the best tackler in the league.
Okay.
So he and then his peers. And see, with Fred, for me, it's his peers also. It's the Ray Lewises and the Warren Sapps and guys like Dion. They're like, are you kidding? Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. What are you talking about? I mean, you just watch him. He's like the size of Adrian Peterson. He's just about as fast as Adrian Peterson. And he's a dude that could catch the ball also. It's really, really weird. There's going to be some interesting case studies. Cam Newton, You mentioned Steve Smith. I can't stop thinking about Steve Smith. But
He's not getting in, I don't think.
yeah, Cam Newton will be interesting. It's going to be very interesting what they do with Antonio Brown, because I'm going to tell you something. On the field,
He's in. He should be in.
He's one of the 5 best wide receivers I've ever seen on the field. So he's going to be interesting. Julio Jones will be very, very interesting.
I think he gets in.
Yeah, I think he does too. The weird thing is guys like Simeon Rice, they have like 122 sacks. He's not in. And 4 other people on his team in Tampa are in. So it's really, really weird, man, how they decide this. It's almost getting to the point where it's like the Baseball Hall of Fame a little bit, you know? I got a quick question for you.
Well, let me say this too. I mean, well, were you gonna? Okay, because the Cam thing you brought up, that makes me that gets the gears turning. I had this conversation with somebody recently. The problem with it is, like, basketball has a basketball Hall of Fame.
Right.
They look at the entirety of what you did in your basketball career, and for the football, I mean, you have the College Football Hall of Fame. You have the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which we're discussing right now. And that's kind of the hang up of Cam Newton, because there's no way, if there's just a strict football Hall of Fame, he's not in the Hall of Fame for what he did at Blinn Junior College when he announced championship there, what he did at Auburn that one season where not a single one of those dudes on offense played a snap in the NFL, and he carried them undefeated national championship season. And then to be set the passing records immediately as far as a rookie in their debut in the first couple of games, to be offensive rookie of the year, to be the MVP. And I mean, that offense in Carolina that year, it was Greg Olsen, who was like his best receiver. Like they had Ted Ginn, they had Devin Funches. I mean, Kelvin Benjamin tore his ACL and people thought it was a big loss. Like, he didn't have a bunch of dudes he was throwing the ball to, and that was the number 1 offense in the league until it wasn't against Denver. That's not like, I don't know. If they had just a pure football Hall of Fame, Cam's in it, but the fact that it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and also, I mean, my guy Darren Gant, who has covered the Panthers since their inception, has always said Cam Newton makes people stupid, and that part of it's going to really keep him out. Just, I don't mean, the sheer disdain towards this dude who I don't really understand why it's been like that, but it is. I guess I kind of have an understanding, but come on.
Yeah, I got you. Cam and Steve Smith were going back and forth because Cam said that it was a bunch of losers on the team, and Steve Smith said, "Oh, we're all losers." Steve Smith might want to sit this one out for at least about a month. Just don't say nothing. Just don't say a word, man. Just somebody else will get in trouble, Steve. Just let this stuff. Just sit there and be quiet. Just wait. You know, it was Justin Tucker last week, and it's you this week. Just hang out. Somebody else will get in trouble and take all of the heat off of you. We got a lot of heat coming here because it's Combine Week. So I know Tyler Roland will be hitting you upside your head early in the morning like a double shot of espresso every day here on Locked On NFL. And here in the barbershop, we'll do the exact same thing. Make sure you check us out twice a day here on Locked On NFL, wherever you get your podcast. Julian Council, go and tackle the day. Win every moment, brother. You know how we do it. We'll see you next Monday here on Locked On NFL.